about it, but they're talking about how only TIAA, CREF, and Vanguard are like the two that they recommend for uh, low cost companies or whatever. And so I was um, looking into those two in a little bit more detail. And TIAA CREF is a .org, which I thought was interesting.
Hmm.
Um, so it's uh, but I don't know if everyone's allowed to do it or what, because according to Wikipedia, um, let's see, they typically work with academic research, medical, and cultural fields. So I don't know if they are open to anyone, like a lot of um, credit unions are now. You don't necessarily have to be a part of a credit union organization to take advantage of a credit union. Um, Certain ones, and so I'm wondering if they have opened up their doors to more people. So I need to look into that a little bit. And also in looking at Vanguard on the other side, there was an article that came out today in Fortune magazine saying that they may owe billions in taxes, back taxes,
Oh my gosh.
and they have to increase their fees by 4x or something like that. So
Hmm.
to pay for that, but it's not for sure yet, but it's something to keep in mind. So um, I am going to go over. They actually, us being here next to Notre Dame, TIA Craft has um, an office, a branch that's right here within walking distance of our house, which is kind of nice because I think they do a lot with the university. So I may walk over there. Of course, they hold bankers hours 8 to 5 Monday through Friday, so not super easy to get over there. But I'm going to make a point to go do that certainly while I have some time off during the holiday breaks. So that's on my list to at least start engaging with them because I want to have all my ducks lined up prior to parting ways with my current financial advisor.
I have two questions, Nate,
Yep.
and I'll start with the second one. So is Vanguard and TIA CREF, they're like a financial advisor company? Because I'm trying to think like, you can do your money through Schwab or Ameritrade or something like that. That's like a brokerage account. That's like more like a bank account. Whereas TIA, CREF, and Vanguard are like money advisors. Is that the understanding I should have?
I I need to
I
get a
think they're
better
the
understanding.
sorry. I
I
think
think
they're
you
the
can.
same, Todd, as far as
Oh yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
um, Vanguard and say Schwab or TD Ameritrade or something like that.
Yeah.
They're the same with the exception that Vanguard and TIAA CREF I think are not-for-profit groups or so they don't charge big fees. They charge fees to run it, and that's it. There's not. Um,
Hmm. So I think what you're saying is it's all the same with the exception is Vanguard and TIA CREF are cheaper.
exactly.
That's yeah, yeah.
So
And
if
the
I
root of the lawsuit for Vanguard is that they are charging people at cost plus some markup
yeah,
on income or whatever just for profit.
yeah.
And that because they were returning all of their profits from the assets under management to their people, to their shareholders, the people who invest in them, um, they don't have to pay taxes on those profits.
Hmm.
That was their understanding of the law, but
Got it.
that may or may not be the case. So I need to do a little bit more research on that one, but seeing as how TIA craft is right here, that seems to make more sense for me personally.
Well, so my second question is, do you remember which interview or which part of the book led you
Mm-hmm.
to lead you away from your current advisor towards one of these two companies?
Um, Well, he works for or he works with Cardiff Grant or Card something Grant. I forget the name of their. It's a Cataray Grant
Okay.
is their company, and so just the fact that you know it's a thing where oops, I'm trying to find the chat. I don't think there was a particular section that sort of said, hey, you should do something else. But I don't know. I mean, he has had some good advice, but I just feel like I can go online and rebalance and do all that kind of stuff. Whereas if I just retain him as a fiduciary, then I've got um, I've got access to his knowledge, but not necessarily him steering me towards just that Cardiff Grant.
Do you have any idea what his fees are, the guy that you're about to leave?
I I don't.
And is it probably whatever you buy or sell, he gets a cut of? That's the difference between a fiduciary and like an agent, I guess, right?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, because honestly, I don't have anybody, and it's funny. I have this guy who's like 32 years old, and he's been knocking on my door politely every 9 months. And I don't know, he reminds me of myself because he's a good salesman in that he does what he says he's going to do, and he works for a local financial services company. And there's a part of me that
Yeah.
just wants to give him a little bit of my business for no other reason that he's been sticking around and
Yeah.
he's not hounding me. He's like, listen, I'm going to call you back in 6 months, and if that happens to be the right time where you want to like trust me and try some things, because it's funny, he knocked on my door a few weeks ago, and I literally was just finishing up that part about fixed index annuities, and I asked him what his opinion was of it, and he's like, well, I'm not a fan of it. This is why. And he's like, I'll tell you what, I'll send you some information in the mail, and then I'll follow back up with you. And he did exactly what he said he was going to do. So for no other reason, maybe just out of guilt, maybe I'll uh, just try him for a little bit because I don't have an advisor. Like my advisor is reading a book or reading Money Magazine or reading something online, and I just don't know whether or not it's something I need to do or should do. I'm kind of stuck. So
Yeah. It's there's a lot of certainly there's a lot of money on the line, um, in fees and whatnot, and it's a big, you know, um, yeah. I guess it's definitely everyone says to do it. Have a fiduciary. At least within the book, they said that. So
yeah, yeah, I know, and I just want, I don't know. It's funny, after reading that book twice, you'd think I'd be clear on what my direction should be, and quite honestly, it's simply not. Because it's not that I don't trust Tony, the author, I actually do. I just, I feel like I'm doing a pretty good job, and until I start cashing my money out when I'm getting retired, how much more are they? How much of a difference are they going to make? Kevin, do you hire somebody to watch your money for you?
Yeah, I do.
And
Um,
I'm going to interrupt you for 1 second, I was just talking to a friend of mine, and he has one, and he sits down with him like every 6 months, and the very first question he asks his advisor is, "How much money did you make off of me in these last 6 months?" And that's a pretty bold question, but I think it's one that is worth asking because I'm very averse to conflict, and I wouldn't want to make anybody feel uncomfortable. But I think that's a very bold question. I wonder, Kevin, if you asked your guy, "How much have you made off of me in the last 2 years or last year?" And he may not know it offhand. I just wonder what he would say after he went back to his office and figured it out.
yeah, I don't know. I've never asked the question, but it
Do
wouldn't hurt to ask it.
do you feel, what I was about to ask you is, do you feel like you're getting your money's worth? But the weird thing is, and hopefully you don't feel bad that I'm putting you in a corner here, but you don't even know. You can ask. I can't ask you if you're getting your money's worth if you don't even know what you're paying him, right?
Well, I do know. I mean, I don't know off the top of my head, but I have it in my Quicken or whatever how much I actually pay him.
Okay, so is it like an annual fee, or is it based on
Yeah.
how much activity you have, like how many buys and sells you have, or
No, it's a flat fee, um, and then it's based on a percentage of my account, and then that's it. That covers any fees they have to pay. You know,
so then my next question is,
as
let's
many trades.
do you feel, and this may be an unfair question, but do you feel like you're getting your money's worth from him? I mean, is he steering you in a direction that you wouldn't be able to go to without him?
Yes. I mean, I feel like I am getting it because, I mean, again, I don't have to pay for these, but they basically, I mean, they're trading stocks and rebalancing my account almost, if not daily, weekly. um, they're selling 2 shares of this stock and buying something else to keep I'm assuming they're doing it to keep my portfolio balanced or whatever, but, um,
Yeah, that's
so,
just really interesting. Like, there's a part of me, like I just said, you want to be rebalanced, you want to not expose yourself to too much risk. But the what little I know about finance is that if you're doing a lot of buying and selling, there's a commission that's made every time you do that. So I guess I would just be cautious about that.
yeah, that's the point though that there's not.
Oh,
So
okay,
I pay them that fixed percentage,
okay,
uh, which I think is like 1.2% or something like that.
okay,
And if they make 1,000 trades or they make 2 trades, doesn't that's it. I still pay them the same amount.
got it, got it. Okay, all right, that's interesting. Yeah, I still don't know what I'm gonna do. I'm stuck because I feel like I do a good job without anybody else's help, but I don't want to be stupid either.
Yeah, and I don't know that what I'm doing is right. I mean, part of me says, why don't I just take it and put it in the index funds? But
Well, here's the thing. I would challenge you with this, and you don't have to like tell me on the next call, but just for your own knowing, find out how much you paid him over the last 10 years.
I've
And
only had
and ask yourself, could my money be better spent? And believe me, I'm not trying to push you in any direction, but what I am trying to do is push you to at least evaluate the information to make an informed decision. And maybe you've already done that. You're like, oh, he's worth it. He told me to do this, and I would have done that, and he's made his money 10 times over. But if you don't feel that way, then um, maybe you should look in a different direction. I don't know. You and I will continue to have this conversation because it seems like we're always connected, anyways. But Nate, I am interested. If and when you get in and talk to, who's the one that's close by to you?
TIA Craft.
So after, I don't know, do you plan to be there sometime before the holidays or after the holidays?
Probably, probably after,
Okay,
or kind of in between that area where, in between Christmas and New
Christmas
Year.
and New Year's.
Yeah,
Okay,
just because I have time off from work and hopefully they'd be open at that point in time. But
yeah,
you
you'd
never
think
know.
so. Okay, so one thing I want to do is I want to throw out two resources for everybody, and you may or may not uh, need these, but it's just something that I've been working on lately. One is I'm about to have a teenager. Nate, your kids are still pretty young. What are they?
Uh, the oldest is almost 3.
Okay, so you got a long ways to go. Uh, but I'm a big fan of Motley Fool. Nate? You know what Motley Fool is, don't you?
I do know about them. I don't check in with them all that often.
I mean, it's a magazine, it's a website, it's a podcast, it's everything. Kevin, do you know of Motley Fool?
I've heard of them before, and then you obviously have brought them up over the last couple months.
They
But
just give very clean, easy to understand advice. Practical, down to earth, kind of funny. So I found this book that I just ordered called Motley Fool Investment Guide for Teens, and I'm going to hopefully read that with my daughter because I'm about to have a 13-year-old. So that's the one thing I want to throw out there. It's just something that I'm going to do. There's another thing I just learned called Spark Gift, and I think I have the website up here somewhere, or maybe I don't. Spark Gift is a really easy way to gift stocks to one of your kids, and you can buy them in small, like I don't know how much Apple costs, like maybe an Apple share is like $200 or $400, but you could buy fractions of shares. So to teach our children, uh, because unless they know what a stock is, I mean, they don't know that they can own a piece of Google tomorrow. Like they can be owners of Google. So it's kind of a cool exercise. And Spark Gift,
All right.
that's all right. I know exactly what that is. That's the podcast I listen to because that's the beginning.
It is. Yeah.
Sparkgift.com. It's just a very easy way to gift your kid a share or two of something, and it's a conversation starter. It's not like they're going to get rich off of it, but it's a way to start introducing them to what stocks are and what those type of financial instruments are. And then the last thing I wanted to share, did somebody want to say something?
I just said I love that.
Oh,
I
I didn't even know you were back. I'm glad you're back.
yeah, I'm all over the place. I think that'd be neat to give all of our kids a stock for Christmas.
Yeah, and the way they sell it is that, if you do it in an Ameritrade account or a Schwab, it's kind of a pain in the butt and it's not as cool. But this is all about, a parent or a grandparent giving a son or a nephew or a grandson a gift. And I went through the YouTube tutorials and it's really easy. And they have 6,000 stocks to choose from, but they have like the most popular ones on the front page. Actually, I'll go to it right now. Can everybody see my screen?
Yeah.
All right, let me go here. Nate, can you see the screen?
So how do they do it? They have it in a separate account, or how does it?
Yeah, you basically start another account. I mean, it's not like you want all these different accounts everywhere, but so you choose a stock or an index fund. That's the other good part. You can teach them what an index fund is. Instead of buying a share of McDonald's, you could buy a piece of the S&P 500. And they'll deliver it directly to the recipient electronically. So that's, it's kind of cool. It's like an app on the phone. So put it this way, it's much cooler to give a gift like this than it is to buy a share in your Ameritrade account and just show them a small balance. It's kind of like, I don't know, it's more teenage friendly. So then they accept your gift and they just need to fill this page out right here. It's an individual investment account. If they are younger than 18, there does need to be a custodial, but it's as simple as putting in your birthday, your address, and then they have their account and they can watch it grow. So maybe their fractional share of Apple goes from $20 to $23. And all of a sudden they're like, oh, wow, I have $3 more in my account than I did before. So it's pretty cool. And these two, we won't do this now, but these are the videos that I watched this morning.
Today, I'm going to show you how to give a gift on SparkGift.
So that's the first one, and then and then another one is.
Now, I'm going to show you how to receive a gift on SparkGift.
So and each of these are 2 minutes. So it's a pretty cool resource. I think I'm going to do that for maybe my 12-year-old and probably my 10, but not my 8-year-old. She's still clueless, and she's an 8-year-old world. So. And then the other resource that I'm actually really excited about is called famzoo.com. And Nate, your kids are probably too young for this, but the Rogers and the Adams, they're not. Let me see if I can pull it up. Here's an interesting question. Kevin and Carolyn, do you guys, you have a college kid and then Taya is 12. Do you guys have allowances for your kids?
No, we did when they were little, and then at the recession, we continued, and they were buying stuff that was driving us nuts, and we weren't buying anything because we got hit hard.
Yeah.
And I was like, that is it. They don't get to go to the junk store and buy junk when we can't. So we cut them off in 2008.
Yes.
And we have never looked back. They babysit, they do stuff. Charlie has his own company, basically, his own little business. But they all make money, and they have to spend, when they go out with their friends, it's their money.
Yeah. How does Taya make money, though?
She babysits,
Babysits.
and she baby dog sits.
Awesome. So I just started with this famzoo.com. I'm actually going to have the owner or the starter of this on the podcast probably sometime in January. Online family banking designed for kids, teens, and parents. And the hardest part about, for me, allowances or paying your kids is the management of it. And this is something that is pretty powerful. And I'm just going to give you a quick overview of it. So can you guys see my screen?
Yeah.
So what's cool about this is, I was always taught to teach my kids the value of paper money, because a credit card doesn't mean anything to a kid, but now we're getting so electronic, it's silly to avoid because, I don't know how long paper is going to be around for, but it's less and less popular. So each of my daughters they get their own prepaid debit card, and it all starts from mine. So I have the Master card. I don't know if I can, let me see if I can find a good place for it. Let's see. So it's all preloaded. So I have a debit card, and I can move money from my debit card into their debit cards. So each of them have 3 different debit cards. So JC, my 12-year-old, has a debit card that is a spending one, a savings one, and a charitable one. Okay? Cameron has the same thing. The only one that they'll probably walk around with, and it's not like a debit card, it's only worth what's in the account. And it's all very cheap and everything. And what's cool about it, though, is that you can set it up any way you want. Like Kathy and I went back and forth, like, do we want to give our kids an allowance? And originally I'm like, yeah, we'll give them a minimal amount just for around the house duties. And then we decided to pull that away. And instead we just pay them for special projects. So we have, if you can see it, clean the mudroom. That is something that is not expected of them on a daily basis. So if they do that, they can go to my phone, Kathy's phone, or my laptop, and they just click on this box, and it automatically moves money over from my debit card that I established to their debit card. So it goes, like, say I'm going to pay them $1 to clean the mudroom. They will go, after they do it, they will go and click on that, and it automatically drags the money from my card to theirs. So it takes a lot of the messiness out of it. And whenever they need money, they can go to, this is called my bonuses list. And all they do is they look at it. If they want money, they just go to it. So if they clean the mudroom, they get 75 cents. If they make their own lunch, they get $0.25. So if they make their lunch every day for 5 days, they get $1.25. So it's actually starting to work. They say, Dad, I need money. And they'll go to this list and they'll check off the box themselves after they do it. And it's
Awesome.
It takes
That's great.
So this is to clean. We have a rabbit named Smokey, so that gets paid $1. And if JC does it, she'll click that box, and I don't have to do a thing. Like, the money is there; it moves it from their card to my card. Load dishwasher, 50 cents, and then I have. Let's see, what else do I have? Oh, a full load of laundry, which means wash, dry, fold, put away. It's not the wash and dry and then they sit in the dryer for 2 days. Like, in order for them to get that, they have to do wash it, dry it, fold it, put it away. They get $3.
Here's where allowance can backfire. They'll be like, yeah, I don't need the money right now.
I know.
So, they all have chores they have to do always in the house, not just when they need money.
Right.
And I remember when we're doing allowance, and sometimes they're like, yeah, I don't need my allowance this month. And I was like, oh, well, that doesn't work. You know what I mean? So sometimes the money correlated with the chore can backfire.
That's exactly right. And it's funny. That's kind of how Kathy and I started. Because first I'm like, well, we'll just give them, like, Skylar's in 2nd grade, so I'll give her $2 a week. Cameron's in 5th grade, I'll give her $5 a week. And JC's in 7th, I'll give her $7. And then Kathy's like, I don't think I like that. So we removed the allowances. And now these are just like there's a whole other list of allowance chores that they're expected to do and they get no money. It's just, you're part of a community in this house and you need to do it. But the special stuff.
These are additional.
These are additional,
right.
Correct.
Opportunities to earn money. Okay, that makes sense.
because that's exactly right. If they don't need money, like, oh, I'm not gonna, make my bet or whatever it is, then all of a sudden it
Yeah,
backfires. So these are all like bonuses, and
that's for
I am excited to use it. I'm gonna have the guy on probably sometime in January, so this will probably not be the last time you guys hear me talking about it. But it's just a pretty cool thing, and when you're out of money, you just reload your card. I have my debit card linked to their uh, to my PayPal account. So I just move over from my PayPal account into this debit card, and then if I have to move money from my debit card into one of my daughters, like if I'm out of money, it's just I get it from my PayPal. So I don't have to do any. I don't have to go to any banks. I don't have to do anything. So, and I'm sure. And the other part is it gives you the opportunity. Like you can make it any way you want it. What I mean by that is. There's a deal that if they choose to, let's say they clean their mudroom, it automatically goes into their spending account. But if they choose instead to put it into their savings card, then Kathy and I match that like 50 cents on the dollar. So if they put $5 into their savings card, I will match it for 250. So there's a lot of cool things that you can encourage savings as opposed to it just going to money, to spending.
That's what we do too for their savings, and that's been great.
Yeah,
Kevin started that like
a long
a
time.
long time ago,
Well,
and that's been.
here's my one question though. I haven't established what savings is, and what I mean by that is, so they have a savings account. Like, do your kids like are they allowed to touch it ever? Like, what does a savings account mean to your kids?
So our savings account for them was like a Schwab account, or is it? Actually, yeah, it is a Schwab account.
Okay,
And so if they put money into that, and it was really for college or after college, so it wasn't money that they could really touch.
got it.
So if they gave me $20 to put in that, we did the same thing. We'd match half of it, so we would put $30 in there.
So this
I don't
savings
know.
account is not so like if they want to save up for an iPad or something like that, like let's say Taya wants to get her own iPad a year from now, that's their spending money. The savings
Right.
account
No, they-
is for college.
Well, they have little accounts at Fifth Third that's their own. Like Charlie has a debit card, that's his own money,
Right.
where he puts money in there and he can freely. But we don't match that savings account.
Got it.
We only match them, and I won't let them take it out in college because I have a college kid and it would be gone. So it's a gift to not let them touch it.
Right.
I want them to learn how to manage money in college, but I fear for the one in college that it would be gone.
So your son who's at Dayton, he has a savings account because you guys have been helping him matching that and all that, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
And
but he has this. He hasn't really funded this Schwab account since he was probably like a sophomore in high school. The last 2 years, any money he made, he put in his own account that he was going to
college.
use to spend in college.
Yeah,
Got
'cause
it.
He has to spend. He has his own. He has to pay for his
His,
expenses.
his
in
spending
college.
money, right?
So yeah, but it's still he has a good amount in there. But it would for sure be gone. Knowing that the one in Eaton, it would be gone
so when are you going to let him touch it? 22?
after college. Yeah, after college when he's done, and he'll be so grateful that he didn't touch it.
Yes.
You know.
Got it. Okay, well that helps me because I didn't really know what I meant by savings, but that actually makes a lot of sense because the last thing I want to do is match 50 cents on the dollar for them to go buy a bicycle next summer. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah, that's what I don't know.
That
That was
was-
working for us, but
That was the incentive for them to actually put it into this account as opposed to just put it in their piggy bank in their bedroom.
Got it. Okay, that makes sense. Like I said, Nate, I know you've got a long ways to go before you got to worry about that stuff, but do you have any questions or comments on any of that? I want to give you the floor if you want it.
No, it's all good stuff to be thinking about. And right now, it's as far as they're concerned, counting to counting is step one. So, we're on we're there.
Yeah.
But I think I do like the idea. I like the idea of maybe maybe you teach them how to rebalance that account and say, okay, you know, you've got the Schwab account, you've got your assets, you know, however you have your stuff, and maybe at the end of the year, if you make money, a certain percentage of that can come out, and it's sort of like you know, a bonus,
Yeah.
or you know, if they do well with it, or there's you know, if it doesn't do well, they don't get to take it out. I mean, there's some, I don't know, or they can reinvest it or whatever. But yeah, I like the idea of letting kids play with, you know, a small percentage of, or a small amount of money.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool.
And it's never too early to start. We used to, when the kids were, you know, really little. I mean, even like christenings and first communions, and that, you know, family would always give, or not always, but a lot of times give them some money. You know, if they got $100, we would let them, depending on their age, you know, keep 5 or 10 of it, and put the rest in there. I mean, they didn't even really know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
we have a 529 set for both of them, which is but that's just for the price of college that we, you know, took for, you know,
Yep.
christening money and that type of thing. But,
So, Kevin, and Carolyn, let's say Taya gets you know, $50 from Grandpa. What is your rule for that?
we don't have a,
we don't
yeah,
have a
now we
rule.
don't have, I mean,
So
I was
she,
talking about when they were little, when they didn't know the difference.
so
really.
she
But
can,
now it's up to her what she does with it.
she gets $50. She can do whatever the heck she pleases with it. And if she chooses
Yeah.
to give that cash to you, then you'll match it 50 cents. But if she chooses to
Mhm.
keep it just to spend, then she keeps it to spend.
Yep.
And she usually puts a little sticky note on it and puts it in Kevin's office and saves it. They love saving
So
money.
right.
Do you think they love saving money because of the match, or they just love saving money?
I think because the match
I think
and
both,
because
yeah.
they don't want anything. I don't know. They're just
I think the match definitely is a big incentive. I
I
mean, they
think so.
feel like, oh, I have $20. If I give it to Dad, I have 30.
and then
Yeah.
they get excited. Tony and I try to meet with them every couple months to show them how it's grown.
Yeah,
They get super excited. We tell them not to talk about it with anyone else.
right.
But
Right.
they get excited to see it grow.
Got it.
And then during the recession, it was kind of scary to see it.
That was the worst. Yeah.
That was really hard for them when they
Yeah.
saw it. They lost a couple $100 each of them, and that was really hard.
Were they investing it into what were they? Where was their money? Was it in a mutual fund or something?
It was either in a mutual fund or an index fund or something. But yeah,
And they
and we
saw it.
bought it right at the, you know, in 2008, and then literally
Watched it
within
plummet.
months it was 40% of it was gone. They're like, this stinks.
By the way,
That's
there's
what we wanted
there's
to
a
keep.
few, and we'll close up here in a second. But there's two really good movies coming out. One you all know about, and that's The Force Awakens. And I'm a big Star Wars nerd, and Kathy and I are going to see it on Friday the 18th at 11 in the morning. So I recommend you guys see that. And the other one is there's a movie called The Big Short, and it's based off of a book by a guy named Michael Lewis, and it talks all about the financial meltdown from 2008. I love the book, and the actors that are in this movie are amazing. It's Steve Carell, Ryan Gosling, Brad Pitt. There's 3 or 4 other really good actors in it, and
Yeah.
if the movie is half as good as the book, you'll be really pleased. And it's all about the financial markets, and that's something I happen to be fascinated with. And you know, just that I've watched documentaries on it and how we were actually really close to the country was literally going to turn upside down, and it all happened in a few short days of what was going on at the Fed. But anyways, it's called The Big Short, and I highly recommend it. So.
Great.
So 48 minutes in. My question to the 3 of you, we have one more section left, and I think a lot of it is about charity and giving back, and I certainly want to do it. And then maybe just do a wrap up to see if anybody has anything else they want to talk about. Would you guys prefer to do this before Christmas, to kind of be done with it and start fresh with whatever it is we decide to do moving forward, or do we want to push it till after New Year's? Do you guys have any thoughts? Because I'm okay with either.
I say after New Year's. My brain is going a mile a minute right now.
Okay.
Until Christmas.
Kevin,
That's fine with me.
you just agreed with your wife. That's a smart move.
I know.
I mean, you guys okay with that? I just feel like
Yeah.
it's just
Yeah, I don't
the
care.
list,
No, I'm
the lists
totally
are
there
getting
too.
long
Okay.
these days.
Okay, so having said that, first of all, thank you for giving me your opinion, Carolyn. Sometimes when I ask these questions to groups of people, nobody wants to say anything. So thank you for saying something. So let's do, we've been doing Mondays and Tuesdays. Do we want to do, say, Monday, January 4th? Is that we're still going to be kind of recovering from New Year's. Do we want to push
Yeah.
it back even to like the 11th?
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay. Nate, you good with that?
Sounds great.
Carolyn?
Yep.
All right, so our last class will be, actually it'll be over a month from now. So use the month to ask yourself how can our last session together be utilized, maybe just a wrap up, what you got out of it, what you still want more clarity on. Email me with questions between now and next month, and I'll be happy to do some research and figure out anything you guys want. But my gratitude for you guys jumping on board with this thing, I cannot say thank you enough. So happy holidays to the three of you, and we will be back on January 11th.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you, Todd. We're going to give our kid, oh, we shouldn't say it so loud what we're going to give them for Christmas.
What are you going to give them? Say it
The
quiet.
Spark?
Oh,
Spark
yes.
gift.
Are you going to do that?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Oh, I'm so glad. All right. Well, you guys have a good one, and we'll talk on the other side.
Awesome.
Thanks.
Thank you.
All right. Take care.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.